Buying a home, especially for the first time, can be a very emotional and stressful process. It's admittedly a complicated process, and it's probably the biggest purchase that you will make in your lifetime. It would be great if I could just tell you step one is to go apply for a mortgage loan, step two, find the perfect house, and then for step three, I'd show you a wonderful picture of happy people holding the keys to their new home. However, it is not that simple. So stay tuned as I walk you through the process step by step. Hi, this is Brenda Keller. I'm a realtor with Red One Realty, and I'm here to walk you through the process of buying a house step by step. You may feel you are ready right now, or you might be checking out what it is you need to do to get ready. Because I have so much information to share, I have divided this information into two videos. This is part one, so be sure to watch this entire video for the first two steps. And at the end, I have a free document you can download with all of the steps explained. And then I also have the link in the description below to the second video that has the last 5 steps to buying a house. So first of all, if you like this information, be sure to click the thumbs up like button and the red subscribe button that's below the video to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Once you subscribe, a bell will appear, so click on the bell to be notified when I post new informative videos. So you're interested in buying a house? Let's go straight through it step by step, starting with step one. First of all, step one is not finding a house on the internet, calling up a realtor. Hi, I want to see the house on Main Street. That won't work. You need to start with getting your finances in order. Most realtors and home sellers will not show you a home unless you have at least a pre-qualified letter from your lender, or better yet, a pre-approved letter to submit to the realtor. So step one is get your finances in order. If you are paying cash for a home, you can skip ahead to the second video, which starts with step 3. But the majority of you will need to get a loan first, so continue watching this video. A credit score of at least 650 is usually required. It can be lower with some loans, even down to about 580. But your terms will not be as good, and you will pay much higher interest rate on that loan if your credit score is not high enough. By the way, some lenders prefer a credit score of 680 or higher for the best terms and rates. You can go to freecreditreport.com to see your credit score free. And if your credit is not up to at least 640, and as I said, 680 is preferred by some lenders, you can go to myfico.com to get tips on how to raise your credit score. For instance, there are instructions for how to add rent payments and utility payments to your credit report to help show on-time, reliable payments, and that will bring your credit score up month after month. That site, you do have to pay a monthly fee. I had a client recently, they did that for 6 months, and they were below 600 originally with their credit score. After the 6 months, they went to the loan officer, and they were up to the mid 600s, and they were able to get a loan. So next of all, you need to show a stable job history. That means stable employment for the last 1 to 2 years. You need to show pay stubs and W-2s, and sometimes tax statements are needed. Most people get paid electronically, and if that's you, you'll want to go online and print up your pay stubs for the last few months, whatever the loan officer requires. And you need the last 2 years of W-2s or 1099s. Contact your employer if you need help producing these, if you didn't save them from previous years. The loan officer will also look at your debt to income ratio. That's your DTI. And that's a percentage found by taking all of your monthly debts and dividing them by your gross monthly income. They typically want to see your debt to income ratio at less than 36%. And then you need to show money in the bank. at least the 2 most recent monthly bank statements. So start now opening a checking and savings account, especially the savings account. If you don't have one already, start putting money in there so you can show a history of it. Like I said, you'll probably need at least the last 2 months bank statements. So give yourself 2 months to show that you don't have any non-sufficient funds, that you have money in savings and you're putting money in savings, and didn't bounce any checks, like I said, for non-sufficient funds. You need to show a savings with at least enough money to cover the earnest money, the down payment, and the closing cost, etc. So what are these? You don't just walk in, get the mortgage, and show up at closing. There is money involved in the meantime. So the earnest money is the money you get when you submit your offer, the money you need to take out of your bank account when you submit your offer on a home to show the seller you have skin in the game and money in the bank. That's typically a minimum of $500 to $1,000. And the down payment is what the loan company will want up front. So plan on at least 3 to 20% for a conventional loan, about 3.5% to 5% down payment for an FHA loan. By the way, what I'm talking about, the percentage is, if you're buying a house for $150,000, you're going to need 3.5% to 5% of that $150,000 to pay down on the loan. Now, usually you can get a VA loan or a USDA loan, and sometimes first-time buyer credit programs will allow you to get a 0% down for those types of loans. So VA loan, that's for veterans or active duty military personnel, usually buying their first home, usually a 0% down. USDA loan. A USDA loan is from the United States Department of Agriculture. It's for homes in rural areas. RURAL, rural. That's hard to say. But anyway, I live in a rural area. My entire town, all the houses here qualify, even though, some are in town. We don't have all farmland, but it's considered in a rural area. And USDA, you can get a USDA loan with no money down for that. If you're in a part of Ohio where I live, mostly around Dayton, Ohio area, some of the areas where you can get a USDA loan with no money down: Brookville, Ohio, New Lebanon, Clayton, Farmersville, Germantown, other rural areas, are eligible. To find out if your property that you're going to buy is eligible, just Google something like eligibility map, USDA government, or gov, or something like that. Here's an actual link, okay? You can't click on it here, but it's in the document that I have for you to download. You can always pause this video and write this link down also. If you do a Google search, like I said, eligibility map, USDA.gov. So look for the .gov sites, not .com or .org sites. Then again, like I said, that's a 0% down loan. And there are some down payment assistance programs, especially for first-time home buyers. So check with your loan officer, and they can assist you in finding the right loan for you, the least amount of money down if that's what you want to do. The more money you put down, the less your mortgage payments will be. So that's another thing to think about. Okay, so talking about money needed, you need the escrow money to show the buyer that you're serious. You need your down payment if that's required. Plus, you're going to need about 3 to 4% of the purchase price in closing costs, fees, title insurance, and all that. You need about $300 to $500 for a home inspection. You need about $300 to $500 for an appraisal fee. Typically, the bank will get that ordered, the appraisal fee, with their own appraiser, but you have to pay for it typically. So make sure that you have enough money for that. You also then, when you finally have the house, you need to call in advance of closing, set up all the utilities, and sometimes they'll require money down for that. So get that money, start putting it in the bank, because if it's not there, if you don't have a savings account, the loan officer is going to say, where are you coming up with this money? How are you going to get it? You're not showing that you have this in the bank and that you've been taking care of this issue. So um, if you're taking money out of your 401k or something similar, you'll want to have to be able to account for that, to explain how you got that money. If the deposit shows up on your bank statement you submitted and it's a large deposit, you have to explain where that money came from. You may want to plan on getting that money in your savings account 3 or 4 months before you apply for a loan and start adding more money to it to show you have a history of saving money and that you've had this excuse me, this money in the bank for at least a couple months, and that you've been working on improving your credit during that time. And having that money in the bank, by the way, does help with your credit score. Okay. So then, after you've saved up money, when you have your finances in order, and even during the process of getting these things in order, you'll want to go on to step 2, which is to find a good loan officer. As I said, you do not have to have everything in order before reaching out to a loan officer, but have it started. Start collecting the documents you need, start putting the money in the bank, start working on improving your credit. And they can walk you through, the loan officer can walk you through the process and even tell you how to help improve your finances in order to get the best deal on a loan. They will help you find the best type of mortgage for you, like we were talking about before, FHA, VA, USDA, conventional mortgage. They'll ask you questions to get you pre-qualified so you can tour homes even before you have submitted any of your required paperwork. Then you will at least have an idea of the price of the homes to look for. It will only be disappointing if you start looking at $300,000 home to find out that you qualify for only up to $175,000 home. It's actually best to get the mortgage pre-approved before you start looking at homes. You will get a letter from the lender and it shows the amount for which you will qualify. And you will have this letter within about 2 to 3 days of submitting an offer on a house. And you could lose out on getting the house if you can't submit that letter in the amount of time per the contract. So get the pre-approval letter first. The loan officer will help you determine what you can afford then, with the principal, the interest, the property taxes, and the homeowner's insurance, because that is typically all rolled together into your mortgage payment. It's not the number you see on Zillow saying, here's how much your mortgage will be. No, there's more to it than that. So your goal should be to spend less than 30% of your net pay. Again, the mortgage loan officer can help you determine what is a good payment for you that you can afford. And after you've been approved for a loan, then don't open any new accounts or get any new credit cards. Don't make any big purchases from this time until after closing. No new appliances, no new cars, no big charges. Don't open any new present or new credit cards, and don't charge a bunch on present credit cards. Your loan's approved on the finances at the time your loan paperwork was turned in. And I have heard of a horror story about a deal falling through because a couple bought a new refrigerator by opening a new account at Lowe's on the day before closing. That was the last day of the special at Lowe's. Their credit was run again the next day in the afternoon right before closing. They didn't think that would happen, but it did. And they no longer qualified for the loan due to their debt to income ratio. So don't do it. Remember that once your credit is approved, do not make any big purchases after that. Okay, so to recap, the first 2 steps in buying a home are: number 1, get your finances in order, and number 2, find a good loan officer. These 2 steps can kind of overlap. And then the third step is going to be to get a realtor, and we'll go over that more and the other 5, the rest of the 5 steps in the next video, the second part of this. But your realtor can find you a great loan officer with whom they have worked in the past. So that's the next step, is to find a great realtor and they can help you with this. I just recently had buyers and they had their loan officer picked before they came to me. I would never recommend this loan officer, but there are others I would. So, talk to your realtor and and find out a good loan officer who's going to get things in on time, who's going to do things right, who will keep you ready to close at closing on the date you're supposed to close. So again, all this is going to be covered in part 2 of the second video I made on the steps of buying a home. So please look at the description below this for the video. Below this video, there's a description, and look in there for a link to the video for part 2 of the steps of buying a home. In the second part, I cover the final 5 steps of buying the house. So in the description below is a link for you to click in order to download that free document with all 7 steps to buying a home. I hope this information regarding the first 2 steps helped you. I'll see you in the next video, part 2, the final video of this series on the steps for buying a house. So please click on the description below for the link to watch part 2. Thanks, and I wish you the very best if you're working on purchasing a home. Goodbye for now.